Hi, welcome to the Frostbites podcast. My name is Minna. I'm coming to you from Finland, and this is my podcast about knitting, sewing, and also spinning from now on. Today is the 24th of April. It's Monday, and I have a day off, so I thought that I would film an episode. I was hoping to go outside because the weather is quite nice, but it's still a bit chilly, so I thought that it would be best for me to stay in. And also because I have so many things to show you, I didn't want to carry all of the stuff out in the forest or somewhere. So, welcome, all returning and new viewers. I hope you like this episode. Today, as I told you, I have a lot of things. I have a few finished objects. I have works in progress. I have some new yarn and fabrics that I want to show you. And also, as I said, I have some spinning news, which is a completely new thing for me. So let's get started. First off, let's start with the finished objects. As you may have noticed, I'm wearing one, which is my Radiate pullover by Johi Locatelli, which was a really quick knit. It's from the Interpretations collection, volume 4. And as you can see, I knitted in pretty much the same colors as the sample was on this book. So here it is. I used Kettle Yarn Company's Islington DK. So it's a DK weight yarn, and I felt that it just flew off my needles. It was so quick because lately I've been knitting mostly on fingering weight, so it's twice as thick and I suppose twice as fast. Kettle Yarn Company's Paparacha is the pink colorway, and then Blighty is the grey one. And I really love this sweater. It has become my favorite since I finished it. I made it in size S, I think, and didn't really make a lot of modifications. The only thing I did differently was the sequence of the decreases in the sleeves, because I find that my arms are pretty much the same width or circumference until up to the beginning of my wrist. So I made most of the decreases here in the end. I like to call these my knitter's muscles. I don't know if any of you have experienced the same thing, that you don't really need, or well, I don't really need much decreases until the very end of the sleeve, because I feel like this part of my hand is very wide compared to a standard arm. So yeah, that's the only modification that I made. The sweater is peeling a little bit. I'm not sure if you can see these little peeling knobs here, but other than that, it's a really lovely yarn, very soft. There is some silk in it. It doesn't say what the percentage is, but you can see the sheen on the yarn. So yeah. And I used my 4mm needles, which is US size 6, and I would just live in this sweater all the time. Luckily, our spring and even summer is quite cold, or cool at least, so I'm sure that I can still wear this a long time. And if it gets warmer, I can always wear it as an outer layer when I go out. I really like the colors as well. I didn't want to change the colors from the sample on the book, because I just thought that the pink and the grey go so well together, and I really like pink, so it's really my color. The second finished object that I have is my Slow Shawl by Veera Välimäki, and it's quite long. I used a lot of fingering weight leftover yarns from my stash. It just goes on and on. And I'm not quite sure if I like the contrasting edging that I made. I guess it's okay, but if I made it now, I think I would bind off in the same color. And this was just my own decision. It was not in the pattern, but maybe it enhances the chevron pattern that there is, so I think I'm okay with it. And because it's such a long scarf, and it is very narrow in the other end and very wide on the other, I haven't really come up with a good way to tie it around. I've been playing with it a little bit, trying different types of wearing it, but it looks a bit funny. But I think the best way to wear it is just, you know, once around your neck and just have it hanging on both ends. Because I was trying to wear it with the triangle in the front, but I just couldn't get it to look nice. I have to still practice. I used, like I said, many of my leftover yarns. So there are hedgehog fibers, easy knits, Garn Story, and something else that I can't remember anymore. I've lost the tags. Like this one here is very old. I have knit socks out of it many years ago, which was not a good decision because there's no nylon or any other reinforcement in the yarn, so the socks wore out in a second. But in a scarf it's really nice and soft. It's all merino wool. Some are with nylon. But I really like the colors. They are my kind of colors. Of course, because they are leftovers from garments and accessories that I've made for myself before. So all in all, it's a very nice little scarf. And I also have another shawl by Veera, which I finished since my last episode. So this is the Stay Soft shawl. And I got the pattern as a gift from Kerppa. Thank you, Kerppa, for sending me the pattern. I really enjoyed knitting it, and I also enjoyed wearing it a lot. I used Lustig yarn, merino singles, for this one. Here is the tag. a Finnish dyer in Helsinki, and the yarn is super soft and I love the colors, although I wish that the pale green and then the white speckled yarn would be a bit more contrasting, because from a distance you can't really tell that there are 3 different yarns. It looks as if there are only 2, but the scarf looks nice anyway and I really like it. What else can I say about it? I used 4mm needles for this one as well, as I did on the slow shawl, and it's a very nice easy knit that you can take with you, because there's a lot of garter stitch and you only have to worry about the decreases or increases on the way. So it was a perfect knit. I took this one with me to Edinburgh Yarn Festival, so this was the shawl that I knit during the festival, and it was easy to chat with people even though I was knitting, so it was a perfect travel knit. And then I also have one finished object, which is sewing. And you might have seen a picture of this one too on my Instagram already. So this is a tunic that I made at my sewing course where I go to, and it's actually a pattern making course. So we first made the pattern for this, and then I sewed this. So I used some double gauze cotton, which I ordered from Japan. It's really nice and soft, and I ordered some more double gauze a couple of weeks ago, which I will show you in a minute, and it's reversible. Well, not the garment, but the fabric is reversible, so I decided to use the pink side with the white polka dots, and I think that this will be a really nice garment for summer. And yeah, there's a little stitch detail at the back, just a triangle to keep the facing inside, and there are darts in the back, which I pretty much always need for my garments because of my back, the way it is. And yeah, those were all my finished objects. Before I move on, I want to remind you of our Cal that we are having in my podcast group, which you can find on Ravelry. It's called Frostbites Podcast, and the Cal is called Interpretations 1 to 4 Cal. So if you are joining and you want to share your progress also on Instagram, you can use that hashtag. So the idea is to knit anything out of the 4 collections of the interpretations by Johi Locatelli and Veera Välimäki. And you can post your progress pictures and chat about your projects in the chatter thread, and you can post your finished objects on the finished objects thread. And I made this radiate pullover for that Cal, and I have another one in my works in progress, and there's still plenty of time. It is running until the end of May, so you still have about a month to go, so you can easily finish a sweater as well, or you can choose a quicker project like a shawl or a hat or something. There's a lot to choose from in these collections. And there is already one finished object of this beautiful tunic that I would like to knit as well. So do join us and post your pictures and come over and chat. There will be prizes. I pulled some yarns from my stash that I want to have as prizes. These 3 skeins of Pickles thin organic cotton will be one prize. They are 50-gram skeins, so you get 150 grams. And I think this will be really nice yarn for a small project for summertime because it's cotton. And what can I say about it? It's made in Peru, and the Pickles Yarns is a company based in Norway. And the yarn is just really, really soft. And the yarn is actually quite nice, as it looks to me like a bit like hand spun, because there is a thicker and a thinner strand which have been plied together. And the other colorway is this beige I think, and then a very sunny yellow to go with it. So this set will be one prize, and then another prize will be my favorite sock yarn from Knitlop's Lair, who is a local dyer, and this is her Väinämöinen sock yarn base with really it's a high twist, and it really creates a good fabric for a sock. And it's 25% nylon, 75 superwash wool. And the colorway is called Eiku, which is not a colorway that is repeated, but I suppose this is more like a try to create something, and maybe she has done a few tweaks before it is accepted to the collection that she's selling. So this is a non-repeatable colorway, but it's beautiful, and it will create a lovely pair of socks if the winner decides to knit socks out of it. So that's another prize. And if you would like to donate something as a prize for the knit along, get in touch with me either on Ravelry or Instagram. Okay, next section will be about my whips. The first whip I'm going to show you is my other project for our knit along. It's also from the Interpretations 4 collection, a sweater also by Hohi, and it is the East or West pullover, which is this boxy type of sweater, and what is typical for Hohi's designs. Also, this one has an interesting construction. And here is what I have made so far. So I'm knitting the sleeves for the other side at the moment. So you first knit this front panel, which is twisted ribbing, and then you pick up the stitches on the shoulders and you knit down the back. You bind off and then you pick up the stitches for the sides and start working on the other direction, and then you is it grafting? Using the Kitchener stitch, you close the side seam and then you start working in the round for the sleeve. And it is fairly easy. You just have to pay attention to your striping, and because I'm using two different tonal grays, it is sometimes a bit hard to identify which yarn you're using, because there are same shades on both of these grays. So these are all Knit Lair Tuulentytär yarns, which is 100% superwash merino, and it's fingering weight. And I have these two grays, and I'm afraid that I don't have the tags for both of these. The lighter grey is called Hopea, and I can't remember what the darker grey is. And then this pink one is called Ärgy, and it is not quite as bright as a highlighter, but it's a bright pink anyway. And as you can see, I chose again very similar colors to Hohi's sample on the book. It is just my color palette, and I am also ignoring some of the sleeve decreases here on these sleeves as well, for the same reason as I told you about on my radiate. And I hope that it grows a bit when I'm blocking it, because it does look a bit too small. Of course the edges curl, so it is a bit hard to tell at this stage. And there will also be a little bit of ribbing in the hem, so it will grow in that sense too. So that is my first, and I'm knitting this sweater with my 3mm Chaugu needles. Then next one is a project that has been hibernating quite a long time, but I finally took it out and started working on the sleeves. It is a sweater that I started maybe in August last year or something like that, over half a year ago, and it has been waiting for the sleeves for months and months. I haven't touched it, but since I got a new mini circular needle from Edinburgh Yarn Festival, I wanted to try knitting the sleeves on the smaller circs, and I quite like it. It's quite fast once you get used to knitting with the small circs, and I like the fact that it doesn't create any ladders. But I noticed that my gauge is a bit on and off, on the sleeves. It's not quite as even as I have in the body, but I think once I block it, it will be evened out, I hope. So this pattern is loosely based on Vera's breathing space, which was one of the interpretations collections, I believe in the third one. Yes. I'm sure you have all seen this. I have also knitted this sweater as it is in the pattern, but for this one I only took the top part from this book and then ignored the short rows. I made some decreases and increases for the waist shaping and then continued straight. And I was going to give this sweater as a gift for someone, but I'm not sure whether I will do that or whether I keep it to myself. Yeah, I will decide when it's finished. There is a good reason for not giving it away, but I will probably share it a bit later once I have decided what I'm going to do with it. I'm using hedgehog fibers yarns for these two colors. I think this is their sock yarn. I'm not sure anymore, I've lost the tag. And I might mention these as well. You might have noticed that I have these stitch stoppers on my needles. I got these also from Edinburgh. These are from Cocoa Knits. And I think they are quite handy for the smaller circs because it's quite easy to lose your stitches when you pack your knitting away. I don't really use these for any other needles, but for the mini circs, they are quite handy. And then I have started a new sock project. I haven't been knitting socks this year much, only a few stitches, but I started new ones. I have a couple of pairs that I haven't finished. I have to put the heels in, but I needed a simple project for a 3-day seminar I went to, and all my knitting was in a stage where I had to pay more attention to, so I decided to cast on a new pair of socks. And I have already finished the first, and this is the Vanilla is the New Black by Anne Fletcher. I have knit one pair before and they fit really nicely on my foot, and I'm using La Bien Amy's BFL Tough sock. These were a sock buddies set with 2 different yarns, a mini skein of Amy's lipstick and a whole skein of the colorway Pom Pom, which I believe was dyed for the Pom Pom magazine's Christmas party or something. Really nice colorways. And here is the other sock, and I have my smaller stitch stoppers on these 2.5 millimeter needles. So pretty soon I have to start doing the heel ribbing. Yes, after about an inch. And I really quite like this ribbed heel. It's easy to make. It's a little bit different than an afterthought heel or a heel flap and gusset. And like I said, it really fits really well on my foot. So that's that, and it is in my beautiful Give Me a Crown project bag, which I received from Dingo Dye Works Christmas swap. And the bag is made by Nina, who has the Give Me a Crown podcast, which you should go ahead and check if you haven't already. And then my final work in progress is something that I cannot show you completely, but I will show you the yarn. It's a design project that I'm working on. It will be a shawl, and I'm hoping to release the pattern sometime late spring, early summer, although the design itself might be more suitable for autumn and winter time. But anyway, we'll see. I'm using Knitlop's Lair Superwash Merino Tuulen Tytär, which is the same that I'm using for the East or West pullover. And these colorways are called Utu, which is the pink or the antique rose color. And then Kaipu is the one which is more towards purple. A very soft and romantic combination, I think. And yeah, so you will see the product when it's finished and ready for releasing. And this time I also have a sewing work in progress, which is another tunic that I'm making. I'm using almost the same pattern as this one, but the new one is going to be a sleeveless version. The fabric is similar. It's a double gauze cotton that I ordered from Japan. It's got these cute little polar bears and some garland drawings, and it says Happy Holiday and something that I can't read. I think it's French. So very nice gray and white with little bits of red and blue and yellow. And I already cut. Oh no, it's not sleeveless. Haha, I forgot. It is exactly. I was going to make it sleeveless, I think. Anyway, it's going to be exactly the same as the one that I already finished. So I already cut the fabric, and I was really excited to start sewing it. And once I took my serger out and started seaming the first seam, I realized that my serger blades were so blunt that it didn't cut the fabric at all. So that was a bit frustrating. I found a spare blade in my drawer, and I changed the bottom blade to this new one, but it didn't help at all. So I suppose, as I haven't ever changed the blades of my serger, both of them had gone blunt, and I had to order the top blade from Germany, which I'm now waiting to arrive so that I can continue sewing. I suppose it should be here next week. Here you can actually see all the colors that I used in the fabric quite nicely. And I think we can move on to fabric acquisitions now, because as you can see, this one is one of the new fabrics that I ordered also from Japan, from the same Etsy shop that I ordered for the polka dot tunic. I have these have been washed, so they are a bit wrinkly. This is also double gauze cotton, and it has this cloud with raindrops motifs on it. Really nice and soft. I think I could have all of my shirts from this kind of fabric. So I suppose this is going to be the sleeveless version of the tunic. Funny how your memory does tricks to you. And then I also ordered this fabric, which is linen and cotton blend, with these brown and olive green birds. It's a tiny bit stiffer and thicker than the double gauze. And this is going to be a classic shirt with a collar and buttons in the front. And I have started making the pattern in the sewing course for this shirt last week. And I'm not going to finish it before summer anyway, so it will be more of a long time project. I want to be sewing on it only on the class, because the teacher who is teaching us is a very good sewist and a very good pattern maker, and I want to learn all the different tips and tricks she has for sewing up a classic shirt. So I'm not planning on sewing it at home at all. I guess that's all that I have in progress at the moment. Next, I'm going to show you the yarn and other bits and pieces that I have received or bought since my last episode. So first up, I have this bulky weight, I think it is. It's 125 meters per 100 grams. Eco alpaca from Viking yarns. I have 4 skeins. It's 100% superfine alpaca, and I'm going to make this hoodie sweater, but I'm going to make it without the hood this time. I have made a couple of these before. It's a nice children's sweater in garter stitch. it's buttoned up on the sides, so you don't have to do any seaming. And this is going to be a gift for my godson, who wished for another one because I have already made one for him, and he has grown up so much that the old one doesn't fit him anymore, so I'm going to make him a new one. And his birthday is in May, so I better start working on it very soon. But it is a fairly quick knit because it's a bulky yarn and I'm going to use large needles, and because I don't have to make the hood, it is even more quick this time. The hood is quite large. It always surprises me whether it's knitting or sewing a hood. The hood really requires a lot of fabric, and in knitting it of course takes up a lot of your knitting time compared to say the body part of a sweater. And because it doesn't have sleeves, this one, or it's like a t-shirt, is it a capped sleeve or what do you call it? It's similar to the one that I have on my tunic that I sewed. So it's all made in one piece. It's an easy knit, and this is called the Kite Flyers Vest, Leijan lennättäjän liivi in Finnish. It's by Veera Välimäki. Again, I seem to be knitting only Veera's and Hohi's patterns these days, and it is from a collection called Leikkipuistoneuleet, which I think has been published also in English. Playground Knits or something like that. It's available also as an ebook on Ravelry. And I think it is also in English, but at least it is in Finnish. And in this book there are 11 different patterns for kids and babies. Really nice cardigans and sweaters. Also a bit more girly garments. And there's a tunic as well. I also received these gorgeous yarns in the mail last week. I received these from Lucy from America. Hi Lucy, thank you so much for your package. I loved everything about it. She sent me some ginger twist studio yarn, which is Exmoor Blueface, and it's hand dyed in Scotland. I think this will be a pair of socks. Very stringy colors, quite woolly wool. And then, oh, I just love this one. This is Republic of Wool twist fingering in Holly Jolly colorway. I have been following Michelle of the Republic of Wool on Instagram for several years, I think, and I've been admiring her beautiful, gorgeous yarns, and from day one I have wanted to try out her yarns. I have been looking at her website many times, and quite often all the yarns have been sold out, and sometimes there have been some yarns, but the postage and all that gets pretty high when you order from Finland, so I never got around to do that. But now I have one skein and it's so squishy and soft and beautiful, and I just love it. And there was also a button which I put on my project bag from the Republic of Wool. And then there was a mini skein of Miss Babs yarn, which I also have seen before on many podcasts, but never tried before. This is Miss Babs hand-dyed yarns Yummy Toes Fingering. It's 2-ply superwash merino. And does it say? It doesn't say the weight of this skein, but there's 133 yards, which I have no idea how much it is in meters. But anyway, beautiful ladybug colorway, also very soft. I think the Republic of Wool is definitely going to be a scarf, because I just love how it feels against my skin. We'll see what it becomes. And she also sent me this cute card with 3 sheep knitting, and it says social knitworking, which is quite funny, I think. And also, sorry, keep dropping things, 2 stitch markers, a cup of coffee, which I have on my project bag at the moment, and then another cup or a mug stitch marker with some tiny little flowers painted on it. Very cute. And then, because I told her that I'm more of a coffee drinker than tea drinker, she sent me some Dunkin' Donuts original blend coffee, which I have already drank a few times and I really like it. Very good coffee. So thank you, Lucy, for everything that you sent me. And these stitch markers were in this cute little cotton pouch. And then now we get to the new part of my crafty life. As you can see, I have a spinning wheel. It's my great-grandmother's old spinning wheel, which we have had in our holiday house, which is my grandparents' old house. My great-grandmother used to spin and sell yarn. That's what I've been told. She passed away when I was 4, so I don't really remember much about her. My memories are based on photos mostly. But there are many craft-related items at our holiday house from my great-grandmother, also from my grandmother, but I think my great-grandmother did even more handwork than my grandmother. Of course, during that time it was a necessity, and my great-grandmother used to spin yarn to sell yarn as well to earn some money for the family. But it's quite nice to see and look at all the old tools that she has been using. There are shears, is it shears? The scissor-like things that you use for shearing sheep. And those are actually something that my grandmother used to use as just normal scissors. She always had these huge, sharp shears that whether she was just cutting a piece of paper or a piece of string or anything, they were her daily tool. And I've seen a pair of carders there, and there's a niddy noddy that I brought home. I'm not sure if you can see it, it's hanging here on the wall. And these wooden bobbins for the spinning wheel. There are several of these. I think Dad brought me 4 or 5 of these, and there are more in the house still if I need more, which I'm pretty sure I will once I get the hang of it. So I started my spinning journey 2 days ago. I was having a dentist's appointment on Friday morning, so I was out at the dentist's, and when I got back home and opened the front door, the spinning wheel was waiting for me in here. So I dropped everything and started trying it. I had purchased some fiber from Edinburgh so that I would be ready when I had the wheel here. And I think I tried to spin for like 2 or 3 hours, but it didn't work. I couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. And I'm the kind of person who usually starts just trying out before reading any manuals. I changed the string that you use that is around the wheel, which turns the bobbin in the flyer, and it helped a bit, but still it wasn't working properly. Luckily, the next day, on Saturday, there was a meetup at Knitlop's Lair, the yarn dyer's yarn studio and shop, and I went there, and I knew that Tuulia, the owner of the yarn shop, is a very good spinner, and she has written a book about spinning, which I purchased, Kehraajan käsikirja, which is the spinner's handbook, and it is a very comprehensive book about spinning with a spindle, with a drop spindle, as well as on a spinning wheel. I'm trying to find a photo. Here. And it talks about, it's like a step-by-step guide for both drop spindle spinning and spinning wheel spinning. plying your yarn and troubleshooting and all the tools that you need. It talks about different fibers, about carding. It's also very technical. It's got lots of pictures. It's very informative, and in the end you get a few patterns that you can use for your handspun wool. And I managed to get the last copy that she had, which was really lucky. And she signed it for me as well, which is nice. So I've been reading bits and pieces of this book and trying to figure out what was wrong with my wheel. And I also had a chat with Tulia at her shop, and she gave me some very good advice how to proceed with my spinning. And I changed the string again and placed it properly, and now it seems to be working. It is pulling the yarn in the bobbin in the way that I think is the correct way. And I've been just trying to figure out how to move my hands and what to do with my fingers, and trying to learn how to paddle and all that. So I have managed to create some sort of fiber, twisted fiber, which resembles yarn, at least in some places. I'm not sure if you can see that, but the yarn is of course very much thick and thin. But I'm quite happy that I have managed to create some twist, which seems to me like a proper yarn. So I just have to practice more and try to be consistent. But it's hard. It's very hard. It looks so easy, but it's not. It takes quite a bit of time to get used to all the movement of your hands and legs and or foot, and how it all affects your spinning. But it's really fun, and I just totally lost track of time when I started spinning. So yeah, I think you are going to be seeing a lot more spinning content in this podcast in the future. So here is the first bobbin, which is full of uneven fiber, and as you can see, there are parts which just are not sticking together. Some are really thin with a lot of twist. But I think slowly I'm getting there. And when you're trying to learn it on your own, it's difficult because no one is telling you what you should do or what kind of twist you should be aiming at. So it's just trial and error for me at this stage. I've been looking at a few YouTube videos, tutorials, but I just want to find the rhythm myself and find the feel of it, if you know what I mean. Like, learn it just by doing and trying. That's my method at the moment. I think I'm going to take a class if Tulia is holding one in the autumn. I will definitely try to go there. But I already bought myself this beautiful top of merino nylon fiber, which Tulia has dyed, and this is going to be my gift or prize for myself once I get the hang of it. So I'm practicing with my fiber, which I got from Edinburgh, which was very cheap, only a couple of euros per 100 grams. And once I have some sort of result, I will try this one. And I think I have to get some more, because I'm afraid that I'm going to run out of yarn, out of fiber before I learn how to make yarn out of it. So that's something new and very interesting and inspiring for me. And it of course affects my knitting time, but I don't mind. I think it's very relaxing, and I am dreaming of a time when I can use my own hand-spun yarn for something, for a garment or an accessory for myself. So I'm really looking forward to that. Okay, I've been babbling on for ages now, and I think it's time to stop. I was going to do a sock review, but I think I will save it for later. So until next time, happy knitting. Thanks for watching. Bye.